Loyalty and trust above everything. Ugh. So I ain't never going back. Cause I ain't never going back.
Alright, what's up everybody? This is Ace the Prophet, and you guys are watching another episode of Honest Ace, where I give you guys honest feedback about what I think about your tracks. Now this week, we're going to be doing another review. We're going to be reviewing the project Elijuana by Elijuana. He was actually featured on Insane's Now Carter J album No Windows that we reviewed last episode, so he may sound familiar to you guys from that. So yeah, a couple details about Elijuana here real quick. He is from Flint, Michigan. On his Bandcamp description, it says that he was put on this earth to enrich the lives of the people he comes in contact through artistic expression. So, just a little information on there that Elijah has given about himself. We are going to go ahead and get right to it. Alright, so the first track on Elijuana's album is an intro. It's just a quick skit that asks questions. It's kind of like a meeting kind of feel for this skit, asking a question to people who have tried drugs and alcohol, and it kind of sets the scene about where the album is going, but it leaves the direction of the album open. Alright, track number 2 is called Elijuana. Right off the bat, this track pretty much answers our question about which direction the album's going to be going as it refers to with the drug and alcohol usage. It starts out very slow and melodic. It has a nice sound, but very quickly into it, it switches up into a hard-hitting bass. It's definitely a track that's meant to be listened to while you're under the influence. It has a cool sound effect on the vocals right around 33 seconds. It kind of has like a distorted, kind of reminds me of like an underwater type sound effect, and I really like that. Mixing on it sounds right. The track, it ends with some melodic songs. It's got a nice mixture throughout the whole track, and I think that it's a good opening track to kind of set the scene for where this album is going. So I like this intro track. Alright, track number 3 is called Folk, F-O-K-E, and it's a free verse. It's got another unique sounding beat. The flow on this is definitely a comfortable flow on it. Nothing complex, but it's pretty smooth. He's very comfortable in his delivery on this. He's used to this. You can tell that he does this a lot. It's a nice Drake line in there about hit after hit after hit, so you're Draking. I actually really like that line. That's a really cool line. Other lines in this, they aren't as complex, but that's not exactly the aim of this track. Just kind of go in and you're doing your thing. You're not really focused on super complex, but you're just rapping over the beat, and I like it. I dig the flow a little more in the second half of the track. Yeah, I do think that just a little bit quicker of the flow kind of sounds a little bit better with your voice on this beat, so I do like that. Alright, track number 4 is called Don't You Forget. It's got a super deep sound effect on the first verse. There's some funny lines in it. It's talking about toilet seats and shit. Cool, it's part of the hook. I kind of like that you're starting out with the slow, and then once you get into like a little bit more throughout the song, you go back to your regular voice rather than this deep sound effect, and I think that it stops right exactly when I want it to. I like that you didn't overdo that. So the beat is very deep, and it's a very open beat. The mix on this track is nice again. You've got like a slower type flow on this. I did want to hear it kind of break into more of a double time flow at parts, but and it didn't really go in there. It speeds up some a little bit later in the track, but it never really gets to the double time. I would have liked to see that, but I do still think that it works, and I do. This track is another cool kind of deep track that would definitely be enhanced by listening to it under the influence. So. Alright, track number 5 is called Interlude 1. It's a continuation of the intro skit. You're still in the kind of meeting kind of scenario. It's about somebody talking about he's gonna have to kill someone in order to get where he needs to be, and he doesn't want to. It's kind of a cool continuation, and it leads into our next track. Alright, track number 6 is called Never Going Back. It's got a cool intro sound to it. Before the verses start, I already get the feel that it's a single type. It's got a single type of feel. It's got a good feel. You got a deep sound effect in there too that I think sounds good. On my first listen, I thought that it should be mixed a little bit lower. Right now, I think that it's more at a good it's more at a good level, and I don't think maybe we need to mix it lower like I thought originally. But I am really digging the song. I really like your voice on this one. It almost kind of reminds me of the newer B.O.B. There's a little more grit in your voice on this one. The hook is very nice. It's executed well. I do love this beat, man. This beat is just very... It's just grabbing me in, man. It's intriguing. I want to nod my head to it. It's got a unique sound. It's a very friendly sound. I like it a lot. Second verse, it picks up after a few bars. The end of the verse, there's a sound effect on it that kind of reminds me of Kanye West in the song Runaway. I really dig it. This is easily my favorite song on the album so far, and I do think that it should be pushed as a single if it hasn't already been pushed as one. Alright, track number 7 is called California Dreamin'. There's a singing type intro, it's got a nice sound, there's a smooth beat. I think the singing is definitely a good touch. There's a melodic type rap that switches between the singing, and I think it's nice. The voice on the first verse sounds just a tad low, but the flow is at the right pace. I love the switch up again into the hook. It's a very melodic song, it's got a very nice sound. I think this is a pretty dope track. Yeah, I do like the overall feel of this track. It's very chill, but still has like a kind of romantic touch to it. I like it a lot. This is a good track, man. Track number 8 is called Tiny Roaches, and it features Taylor Foot, going back to a more vicious sound in your voice right here. There's a nice beat on it that's not focused on the drums. I like that bit. It's got a nice, unique sound effect that's kind of replacing the main drums in it, even though the drums are a little bit lower, but it sounds good. I like the beat. I like the choice of beat on this, man. Definitely a marijuana ode. There's a dope rap sound to it. It's kind of a good combination of that. The simple beat complements this concept well. The overall content is very good. It meshes well, I think is what I'm trying to say. I do think this probably could be pushed as the second single. The second verse, it has the same dope sound as the first verse. I like the sound effect that's going on in the hook. I think it's definitely dope. Yeah, the sound effect in the verse is definitely a unique sound. This track is definitely one that can benefit from the listeners being high and under the influence too. So I think that you know where you're trying to push this song. Taylor Foot, I think she has a good flow, but the voice kind of sounds just a little bit inexperienced. I think if she had a little bit more natural and comfortable sound in her voice, it would benefit her nicely, and I think that that's one of the things that could have helped improve this song. But otherwise, the track is really nice, and like I said, just a little more experience and she'll be good. Alright, track number 9 is called Sanctified, and it features D-Drix. The voice, it reminds me of a very mainstream sounding G-Mo Ski, if you know who G-Mo Ski is. It's kind of what I'm reminded of listening to this track, and I've heard it on a couple of the other tracks so far too. The verses are cool, but not as big on them as I am prior tracks to this album. I do love the contrasting switch up that goes into the hook. So there's that. Yeah, I think part of it is just the slower flow on this, and I do want to hear a little bit more of the quicker flow. The slower flow is a little harder to intrigue people with all the time, and so it's a little bit harder to execute. And so I think that the faster flow might bring in a little more people, a little more listeners. That's just my thought. It'd be a little harder to do that unless you do a double time on this. So yeah, I do like the feel in the hook a lot, with the really soulful singing that lifts you up, and then we switch it back into the beat and it's just boom, very vicious. I do like that overall feel of this track. It's a very good mesh. D-Drix, I do like this feature a lot. I think he has a very polished sound. He's got a little bit deeper of a voice, and I think that works very well with this track. He goes into a little bit quicker of a flow a little bit later, and that's really nice on this beat. It's very comfortable. He's very polished. It's a great feature, and I think you guys make a dope combo. Overall, it's a pretty cool track. Track number 10 is called She Know It, and it features Insane, who is now Carter J. I was looking forward to this track when I originally saw it, knowing that Insane/Carter J was on there, and after reviewing his album, knew what was going into it. My first impression, I think that the mix on this is a little bit low. I want to hear it louder, so overall in the mastering, it needs to make sure that it is louder. It's quieter than the other tracks. Beat is simple, and it sounds kind of like the mainstream beats did in the late 2000s. That was my first original impression on this. Still sticking with the simple flow on here. The hook is pretty repetitive. I think this is one of the repetitive hooks that could benefit from having something different. You could still kind of go along with the bad and she know it, bad and she know it, but I think it can't just be that. I know we switch it up later in the hook, but I think there should be a little bit something different there to kind of help intrigue more. Sometimes the repetitive ones really work, sometimes they don't. I think that this is kind of like in between. It just needs a little bit something different in it. Carter J is definitely a dope feature. He has some dope switch ups in his flow that are really nice. I still do think the track sounds a little bit low. Otherwise, it's a pretty cool, simple track that you can just kind of push out. Alright, track number 11 is another skit. It's Interlude 2. It's just a continuation of them, and it's asking why certain people can't fuck with other certain people. So it's a cool continuation. Alright, track number 12 is it's a Drunk in Love remix. I do like this choice of remix because we're remixing a Beyonce song, and it's a unique type remix. It's not one that many MCs are going to go out and do, because it's such a different beat rather than the normal remixes that we do. So I love the fact that it's a unique remix right off the bat. You are attacking the beat nicely. This is the type of flow that I think definitely complements you and your voice. Just listening to it, it has a more comfortable sound to it. It sounds a lot more natural. Nothing sounds forced like we're trying to hold back. It's just coming off the tip of your tongue and it's just rolling out, and it sounds really dope, man. I do like this. There's some dope switch ups. I really like the overall feel of this track, man. It's got a really good feel to it, and I think this is executed very well, and this is definitely a dope remix and one of the tracks that I like more on the album. Track number 13 is called Strippers Love Drizzy, and it features Lando Sky. There's a very slow, deep, melodic intro to this track. It's already got that kind of Drake feel. Definitely got an homage to Drake in the hook, using some of his lyrics right there. I like that use of them. I like the singing in the hook too. It's very, very calm, very relaxing. You guys you're riding the beat very well. I do really like this track. It's got a great feel to it. It's got a very dope feel. The concept of the song, we're kind of going right where I expect it to. As far as strippers go, we're talking about strippers and kind of giving them the Drake treatment. I do like it. It's got a, like I said, it's got a good feel. I like your flow on this. You got a dope delivery. You're pretty comfortable. I really like the feel. It's a very nice track. You're doing your thing on this track, man. Lando Sky definitely comes correct with his verse too. I do like a kind of quicker feel to his verse. I do like that feel. It sounds very nice. He sounds very polished. This is another good choice of features. Once again, the hook's executed well. I really like the hook. I like the dope effects to the vocals on the outros too. I do really like this. After thinking about it a little more, I do think that this should be featured as the second single rather than Tiny Roaches. But I do really like this track, so this is another one of my favorites that we've got so far. Track number 14 is called Candy Flip, and it features Adrian Adonis. Definitely got a quieter, more comfortable type delivery on this. I do like it because it's a little bit different from what we've heard so far, and to me it's very refreshing. It's got another dope, unique beat that definitely can be enhanced if you're listening to it while you're under the influence again. I do like the maxi pad line. That's kind of hilarious to me. There's a lot of funny quotable lines in this. Double A, I'm just gonna call him Double A for short. Double A has a dope switch up in the styles on the hook. Definitely focuses on punchlines and quotables throughout this whole song, and I think that that's something that even helps if you're listening to this while you're high. I think that this is a great song for that. It's pretty funny. It's still got a dope sound. It's a good overall, unique sounding beat. I do think it's a pretty dope track, and I think you guys executed this well. Alright, track number 15 is called Writing Your Tragedy. I love the feel just kind of right off. This is so different from the rest of the album. It's kind of got that, I want to say kind of like alternative pop kind of feel to it in the voice and the sample that we used. I think it's nice. I think it's got a good feel to it. I think the message of the song is nice about, you know, not basically making your life about drugs. The flow and delivery on this are comfortable. It's got a very positive message on this that I like. I like the positive message. It didn't really need to do anything crazy with it on this track, and you just kind of did your thing. You were very comfortable. Just kind of let it come out. You just kind of did your thing and talk and spread a positive message. And I like that about this track, man. I do really like it. The last track on the album, track number 16, is called Right Away, and it features Broseph Jennings. We're back to a vicious sound on this track. The first verse still kind of reminds me of the newer B.O.B. That's kind of my thought a little bit in the styles and the rhyme schemes that we're using, I think. I really like the sound on the melodic part of the hook. This track has the overall feel to it. I feel like it's kind of a dark club type track, if that makes sense. It's kind of just one of the, I hear this definitely rocking the scene in the club, but with a little bit darker of a feel to it. That's kind of where I picture listening to this song, and it's definitely one that would rock the club, and one that back when I used to go clubbing, it's a track that I would love to just bang my head to, just kind of nod, and I would definitely have a fun time listening to this track. So that is Right Away. Right, so my overall feel about this album, Elijuana by Elijuana, is that it's an album that doesn't necessarily focus on concepts. Rather, it focuses on some of the simpler things while using a lot of unique different type beats to enhance it. It's definitely an album that you want to listen to while you're under the influence. It's whether you're drinking or you're smoking. I'm going to assume that he prefers that you're smoking, but that's kind of the feel that I get from this album. It has a lot of good tracks, a lot of unique sounding tracks that really focus more on, like I said, more on the sound rather than the concept. You got a good delivery on these. Your flow's pretty nice. Like I said before, I do want to hear a little bit more of a quicker type flow on some of these tracks, because I do think that enhances your sound when you're speaking a little bit faster. But you do have some tracks that do that, and you have some really nice sounding tracks. I still think that Never Going Back is my definite favorite track on the album. I do think that you should push that as a single. If you haven't already, you need to. That one, I really like California Dreamin' as well. Those are two of the ones that I think I would definitely push for. Got some really dope features on here too, man. I do think that you selected a good group of features. They enhance the album very well. I hope that they're pushing it for you well. They definitely did their thing. I like this, man. I feel like you kind of know where you want to go with your music, and there's some things that you could improve on. I think that just with a little bit more polishing, you're gonna have a very nice sound, and it's not like that you're that far away from it. I think that you're pretty close. I think that it's just some minor tweaking here and there. The mixing, I thought the mixing throughout the whole album I thought was pretty good, minus the track with Carter J that was a little bit low in the overall volume, but everything sounded amateur. I really it had a good overall sound to it. A lot of underground artists don't exactly know how to mix things together very well, and I think that whether you did it yourself or you had someone else do it, it sounds pretty nice overall, and I thought that it had a good feel to that, so it sounded pretty professional in that regard. But yeah, I do think that you're capable of making some pretty good tracks on here, man. As far as all the marijuana tracks, it's not those tracks aren't necessarily my style as far as concepts go, but I do like where you went with it, and I do think that you executed the majority of these very well, and they all have good sounds to them, and you kind of know where to go with that. So that's my overall thoughts on this album. I thought it was a pretty good album, and I did like listening to it. I like listening to anyone that doesn't exactly sound amateur. So I did like that album. I did like this album. It was pretty good overall, and I think that it's one that I would listen to again, and I'm gonna go back and keep listening to some of the songs. Like I said, Never Going Back, that's one song I really do think that you should push if you haven't already. So once again, guys, this is Elijuana, the project Elijuana by Elijuana. Make sure that you guys go get it. I am going to be sure to put the links in the video description, and I'm going to put it in the comments. Make sure that you guys do that. Go support him. And once again, that's Elijuana by Elijuana. Alright guys, so that does it for this episode of Honest Ace. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys do go ahead and check out Elijuana. Like I said, when I tag you guys, I want you guys to go at least check them out, at least give them a listen, so that maybe you guys find someone else that you're a fan of. So that, like I said, that does it. Next week we are going to be, or not next week, next episode, might be next week, might not. I've been a little busier than I expect to be. So the next episode of Honest Ace, we're going to be doing another album review. It's going to be High X by Jeff Sky. Jeff Sky is the artist and his album is High X. So be on the lookout for that. I'm going to make sure that do that as soon as I can. And I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. And we will see you next time on Honest Ace.
Suits and ties and martinis, Asian eyes in bikinis, jacuzzis full of champagne and the studio full of weeds. The flow is just getting stronger, it's colder than Mountain Boulder. Colorado niggas, if you here with your bitch, better hold her high. Yeah.